want anything bad enough, don't make excuses. You gotta lose your time and your sleep for it. You find a way.
Boxing King Media in association with Boxro, Mr. Gareth A. Davies. We're at here in Glazier's house, a beautiful location.
Glazier's Hall, yeah.
Glazier's Hall, sorry, yeah.
Right beside the Thames. Beautiful, icy, cold day in London. And like I say, it's a magnificent day, isn't it? A day of magnificence.
It is a magnificent 7-day. Before I even talk about this show, I want to highlight something. I just suggested it to Frank Warren about how he's still at his age. He rode all the storms, and in a lot of people's eyes and opinions, he's like the main man in the UK now. And obviously, Eddie's done an amazing job, but some people are suggesting Frank's kind of, holding the keys to the kingdom, and he's involved in all the Saudi fights, etc. And there's been a lot of bad narratives about Frank over the years. People suggesting you don't pay this person right, or he's done X. We hear it about promoters, but he's still here, rode the storm, and he must be doing something right if he's got most of the heavyweights in the country and putting cards on like he's doing today.
He's a Hall of Fame promoter for a reason. He's an incredible survivor as well, physically and financially in the sport. You think about the things he's done. He broke the cartel back in the very early 80s, who had a stranglehold on the sport. And he had to do unlicensed boxing to start that. He challenged the status quo back then. He's promoted the biggest names in British boxing. He has created his own boxing channel, Box Nation. Who else has done that? Tell me another promoter in the world that's done that. So you've got to respect the things that Frank Warren's done over, I think it's 46 years in the sport. It's an extraordinary journey, and he has been the guy, as you said, the keys to the kingdom. You can put it that way, the kingdom of Saudi Arabia at the moment. He's involved in him and his son George putting on the biggest fights that are possible, the biggest cards possible in the world. And, judging by what we've seen this week, they're getting even bigger, and they will get bigger. So he's ready. He's always ready. He's always motivated. As you'll have found out yourself, Frank's never shy of giving his opinion. He's never shy of doing an interview. He knows the sport inside out. And he is definitely a legend in the sport. And, in my time, I've always found him amazing to work with. Doesn't agree with me always, as we've had rows over things. He gets very angry about situations. He's very defensive and very powerful at the same time. He's got his opinions on the sport, and he knows how it works. And because it's a sport of opinions, like we had a big disagreement over whether it was a low blow from Daniel Dubois on Alexander Usyk. I thought it was a borderline low blow. It's not like we didn't talk over it. We talked a lot about it. But no, Frank is an amazing asset to the sport of boxing. All that stuff you mentioned just now, it's nothing that I've ever come across from boxers telling me they haven't been paid.
Yeah, no, I mean, just generally, the stuff he's done. Daniel Dubois is a brilliant example. I was looking at Daniel's career, where he started off from scratch with Frank. He's now a multi-millionaire, I'm assuming. Had some great opportunities.
He's a multi-millionaire, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Well, he's probably not a multi-millionaire yet, but I'm sure he will be. Yeah. I'm sure he's handsomely paid for his work. He's reached the top level, and he just needs to come back up again. But no, what Frank does brilliantly is bring young fighters through. He knows how to escalate their careers in the right way. He knows how to create opportunities. As I say, there's 3 or 4 major names promotionally in the world in sport, and he's been there 25 years at the very top.
Yeah.
If not longer, actually.
I like to just try and highlight the positive stuff he's done, because I think people sometimes just talk about the negatives a lot. So it's good to mention that he's bringing back Joe Joyce. Colin Hart, I spoke to Colin, suggests that Joe should have retired. He shouldn't be coming back.
I think Colin Hart should have retired by now. He's standing over there looking at me. Colin Hart thinks Joe Joyce should have retired. Yeah, I know he does. But look, it's up to Joe Joyce when he wants to retire. Colin thinks he takes too much punishment. I've spoken to him about it. He gets hit too much, that he defends with his face. And that you know, you can't argue with Colin's view on that. But I think Joe Joyce has definitely got 2 or 3 more fights left in him. And again, he'll be able to see what's happening over in Saudi Arabia. He's got to get himself back in the shop window. I expect I see him as a big favourite against Cash Ali. He needs to do a demolition job. There's a Joseph Parker fight from there if he wants it, because I'm sure Joe wants revenge. There's a second Daniel Dubois fight. I'm sure Daniel Dubois wants revenge. So there are routes to the keys to the kingdom, as you put it.
100%, and we've got Nathan Heaney making his first defence. Again, not an easy fight, going up against a guy that's 18-1.
I think he said it. They've picked me, and they might be making a mistake. You never know with Nathan. He's so underrated, and yet he produces. If it's not, you know, the Denzel Bentley performance was extraordinary. When was it? Back in November, October?
Something like that.
Yeah, it was really one of the upsets of the year in my view. But when you watch it back, it wasn't. He gets better and better. He believes in himself. He's a big, strong middleweight as well. He's got a mission behind him. He's got a fire lit under him. You know, and he's someone we all love. Nathan Heaney is a great character to have around. Educated, was a teacher, motivated by the history of losing his father. The guy that spends weeks delivering all the tickets to all his fans. I think he does 1,300 miles.
I spent a day with him doing that.
Oh, it was 1,380 miles he does
I
delivering
had
tickets.
travel sickness.
Did you? Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know how many he delivered that day, but he was travelling around the estates.
Yeah, here's one you would have done. I did the bin round once with Rendell Munro at 5 in the morning, and it was really snowy and icy. He never stopped running. He just ran the whole time. It's always fun going to do those things. Great job.
I filmed it. I'll actually send you the link. It's quite a good watch. And another thing I highlighted to Frank, we've seen a lot of this Saudi stuff, money going into the industry recently, but I saw a lot of fans' opinions were we're not going to be getting 50-50 fights in the UK anymore. I think this card kind of proves that wrong straight away.
We're not going to be getting...
Yeah, because a lot of fans are suggesting that all the big fights, all the 50-50 match fights are going to be happening in Saudi now. Obviously, this card kind of disproves that.
Discounts that. Yeah, no, there'll always be 50-50 fights here. Frank has always nourished the grassroots in the UK, and he's always said that. And I've done this piece with him many times, where written pieces where he's saying, I'm not going to neglect the talent coming up, because if we don't nurture it, we run out. And it's true. You need that conveyor belt, and the conveyor belt goes up a slope, doesn't it? And it's not a flat conveyor belt. People gradually escalate in their careers. Some of these guys will be fighting on the Saudi cards in the next 2 or 3 years, as they move down the lighter weight divisions and invest more in the lighter weight division. So, no, this is why Frank Warren is a Hall of Fame promoter, because he knows exactly what he's doing.
Every show, there's always one name that stands out. Who's going to stand out on this show?
Dennis McCann.
And I just want to quickly, before we wrap up, I'm going to get your opinion on this back and forward between Eddie Hearn and Lennox Lewis online. In short, I'm gathering that Lennox Lewis is suggesting that AJ should not be fighting for the winner of Fury Usyk on the back end of beating Ngannou and Wally, and I think his suggestion was that he should be fighting ZHANG.
No, it's the right fight. Ngannou and Joshua is a massive commercial fight, no question about it. Really brings the casuals to the sport. And Joshua's the number 3 in the world right now, in my view. And so Lewis's argument is about the undisputed, because the undisputed will be on the line. There's nothing wrong with him fighting the winner of Fury and Usyk if he beats Francis Ngannou, and there's jeopardy in that fight as well. I have no issue with it. I'm not saying Lennox is wrong, that's his opinion.
Interesting. Anything else you want to add, Gareth, before I let you go?
No, I'm all good.
Top man, thank you. See you soon.
Anything bad enough? Don't make excuses. You gotta lose your time and your sleep for it. You find a way.